The avoidant person cannot recognize their life partner through conventional feelings of comfort, security, or immediate emotional connection that guide other attachment styles toward commitment. Their defensive programming prevents them from trusting emotions that feel too safe or relationships that seem too easy, as their nervous system interprets the absence of struggle as evidence of insufficient depth or authenticity. Instead, they recognize their person through experiencing two simultaneous and contradictory emotional states that create unique internal tension they have never encountered in previous relationships. These conflicting feelings bypass their conscious control and force recognition that they have met someone fundamentally different. The first emotion, complete freedom and safety. The avoidant person must experience unprecedented sense of freedom and autonomy within the relationship that paradoxically makes them feel safer than they have ever felt in intimate connection. This person provides space without withdrawal, accepts their need for solitude without taking it personally, and maintains their own fulfilling life that does not revolve around the avoidant's presence or validation. The avoidant person discovers they can be completely themselves, including their need for distance and independence, without triggering abandonment or desperate pursuit. This freedom feels qualitatively different from the detachment they experience in superficial connections that lack genuine emotional stakes. They recognize they have found someone with whom they can fully relax their vigilance about maintaining boundaries, as this person naturally respects their autonomy without requiring constant reinforcement through withdrawal or coldness. The safety emerges from recognizing they will not be engulfed, controlled, or made responsible for someone else's emotional well-being. Their nervous system, constantly scanning for threats to independence, finds no triggers to activate defensive withdrawal. The second emotion, terrifying fear of loss. Simultaneously, the avoidant person must experience genuine fear of losing this specific person that contradicts their usual indifference about relationship outcomes. This fear emerges from recognizing they have encountered someone irreplaceable rather than interchangeable, someone whose absence would create void they could not easily fill through distraction or replacement. The terror of permanent loss penetrates their defensive detachment in ways no previous relationship has managed. This fear proves particularly significant because it forces the avoidant person to confront that they care deeply despite spending years convinced they were incapable of such vulnerability. They discover themselves actually worried about someone leaving, actually motivated to address their patterns to prevent loss, and actually experiencing the dependency they spent their life avoiding. This emotional experience contradicts their self-image as person who needs no one and can walk away from anything without genuine pain. Why these conflicting emotions signal recognition? The simultaneous experience of complete freedom and terrifying fear of loss creates unique internal tension that forces the avoidant person to recognize they have met their match. The freedom addresses their core need for autonomy, while the fear of loss indicates genuine attachment has formed despite their defenses. These contradictory emotions cannot coexist in superficial connections or relationships that trigger their usual withdrawal patterns. The freedom prevents them from running while the fear of loss motivates them to stay and do the uncomfortable work of maintaining connection. Without the freedom, they would flee regardless of their feelings. Without the fear of loss, they would take the relationship for granted and eventually sabotage it through their typical patterns. The combination creates perfect conditions for lifelong commitment as they recognize they have found someone who makes vulnerability feel worth the risk. The internal shift this creates. When the avoidant person experiences both emotions simultaneously, it forces recognition that their defensive strategies may protect them from pain but also prevent them from experiencing the depth of connection their soul actually craves. The fear of losing someone who simultaneously grants them complete freedom creates motivation to challenge patterns they previously believed were unchangeable aspects of their personality.